Here are some of the differences between the new school and the old school. David Anderson says, forget this idea of calculating business value. Those are just made up numbers. And that's the core philosophy of the new school world. It doesn't matter how many documents you write. It doesn't matter how many stakeholders give you the thumbs up. It doesn't matter how many Excel spreadsheets you have with financial models. The answers are not in your head. They're not in your stakeholders' heads. They're not anywhere inside of your company. You discover the truth of value by producing things and going out into the real world and evaluating them. So the second point is that everything is a hypothesis. Everything is an assumption. Everything is a guess. And so everything needs to be rigorously and scientifically tested. Opinions do not count, even if they come from a senior vice president. The market decides what's right and what's not right. So the key question that you ask yourself in the new school market is, how quickly can you get to the customer? Does it take you 3 months, 3 weeks, or 3 hours? The person who can do this as quickly as possible will learn the most. He who learns fastest wins. So the model here is called Lean Startup, and here's the top level view of it. You build something, you measure, and then you learn. And build does not mean build a product. Build means create the minimal prototype, object, test, question necessary to learn something. It could be a conversation. It could be a landing page. It could be a Google ad. It could be a prototype. It could be a clickable PowerPoint. What's most important is the speed with which you go through this loop. Top companies can go through this loop for many, many features in less than a week. Let's look at that in a little bit more detail. This is a validation board produced by Lean Startup Machine. So the way that you read this board is that you start on the upper left-hand corner. There are 3 hypotheses: customer, problem, and solution. You start by evaluating and determining who your customer and who your problem is. And these things go in a pair. Different customers will have different problems. And so you iterate, you pivot back and forth between customer and problem until you've nailed it down. You have a customer set and a problem that they have. And then you'd figure out what solves that problem for that particular customer. How do you do that? For every customer and problem, you figure out on the lower left-hand corner what experiment you're going to run. You list all of your assumptions. You list all of your guesses. You list all of the things that you believe are true but don't have data. Then in the yellow box, you select your riskiest assumption. And then you devise a method and a minimum success criteria to test that. So an example of a method is that you explore the concept with 10 customers and 5 of them tell you that they actually have the problem. And then you get out of the building, you don't do this inside of your company, and you either invalidate or validate. If you validate, then you go ahead and extend it from customer and problem to solution. If you invalidate, then you need to pivot on customer and problem and keep trying again and again until you get something that's validated.